We just got some big news that will make the coin market go up in the future. Something like this could have turned into a huge black swan event, but it looks like the problem has been avoided for now. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what that was and also talk about something very strange that happened with XRP. Guys, this could mean that something big is about to happen, like, oh, he's just given this channel so much information. Thank you to everyone who liked the movies and signed up for the channel. These two easy things help me a lot. Also, if you're looking for a good place to buy XRP, check out my video Trade Up Hold down in the video description. Now that I've said that, I'll get right to it, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's watch the movie right away. As I said at the beginning, we have some very great news to share with you now. So, as I already said, this could have been a very bad thing for the market for a long time to come. Had the chance to turn into a black swan. There were many bad things that could have happened, but the best thing that happened was what happened. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. The last few days, I've felt like I pretty much accomplished this. It's been a while since I won on the channel, so I'll take this one. A peace deal seems to have been reached in the Middle East, though. It looks like the fighting will stop. Right now, this is very, very strong and positive. A lot of people thought this would go on for a year, 2 years, or 3 years. They thought that the US would be fully involved. I thought this might turn into the next big event in the world. All of those things didn't happen, though, and it looks like this turned out to be much better than many people thought it would be. For the past few months, I've been trying to make it clear that this has nothing to do with crypto. In fact, it makes the case for crypto stronger because all of these countries need to be able to do business with each other without having to trust each other. Of course, fears are high, and these countries will not trust each other even though the fighting has stopped. They still need to do business with each other, though. A decentralized financial network could sit between all of these different countries and provide a measure of security for each one on its own, while still letting them do business with each other financially. This use case has never been more important. But it's clear that worries about this global event have made people unsure and afraid to invest in the markets in general. This is what we've been getting over the last few days and weeks. Next, I tried to make a connection to a different world conflict that happened about a year ago, the situation between Russia and Ukraine. A lot of people thought this could be the black swan event in the market. This is going to be the next big thing that leads to a world war. Get out of the markets and sell your things. Everything is going to fail. And what we saw was bad. There were a lot of people who took part. There were victims. And my heart goes out to everyone who was hurt. Ultimately, though, it never turned into a global war. It was mostly just a lot of scary news stories in the media, making things worse to try to scare people and profit from their fear in the market. I tried to get across that I really did believe what we were going through is the same thing. And it looks like that was the case. There is a lot of money for the big mainstream media companies when they scare people. This is because people will read their stories that no one normally reads. But if you can make people scared or worried, they will read it because they need to know more. This is also known by the big hedge funds and Wall Street businesses. They use these things to manipulate markets and drive down prices. Even if the things that cause fear or the events that cause fear have nothing to do with the real value of the technologies or assets whose prices they are changing. In other words, a big source of fear shows up. We can change prices to get people to sell, and then we can buy those bags for a lot less money. This is what the big Wall Street firms and hedge funds think. That's pretty much what I thought was going on, and it looks like that's what happened. There is now peace. It looks like both sides agree that there is a pause. This is what we agree to. In the short term, this is likely to be the end of this story. It looks like this will be over pretty fast. We'll put it out of our minds and get back to focusing on the important things. This event caused a lot of bad price action, but it seemed like it should be avoided or at least bought. things are going to keep going like this. This is what I want to say. There will always be something that gets blown out of control because that's how the money is made. It has to do with exaggerating these things. But it's really important to step back and see what's going on in a bigger picture, right? Does this change my theory about investing? And the answer we came up with very early on was definitely not, right? It doesn't work. People who are betting on this news don't understand how important events like these are for proving the need for decentralized financial software to act as a go-between for all these different parties that don't trust each other. It looked like the theory was right because the market was so unstable. Many people felt like they had to sell their investments. That's what people do. When the market goes down, people sell because they are afraid. They should never have done that, though, because the event in question was never going to turn into anything that would make them that scared. The big Wall Street firms and people who run these markets didn't want you to think that, though. They wanted you to think that now is the time to sell because prices are going to drop a lot. And what they were doing was buying the bag that you just let out. So it's very important to understand and think about how everything happened. There's a lot of fear in the market. There were a lot of stories about how long this event would last and how it would affect many things. And look, a few days or weeks from now, everyone will have forgotten about this whole thing and how it affected markets. Prices will return to their previous levels and people will remember what happened a few months ago. Okay, who cares now? Without a doubt, it was only a brief blip on the screen. I know that's a lot to take in, but it's so important to know. There was a post from David Sachs that really spoke to me. I don't know how other people feel about this, but he said that most Americans did not want a war in that country. A country that was going to attack also shouldn't have a big, strong bomb. It's just that I don't want to use any bad words and get in trouble on YouTube, but all in all, I believe this was the best case situation, and I really believe it was carried out pretty well. To be honest, we were all pretty worried about where this was going a few days ago. We're through it now. At this point, it looks like all the big things that cause fear have been totally destroyed. Just make sure everyone stays in line now. Still, the fact that we've already reached this point so quickly makes me very hopeful that we won't have to deal with or worry about this again anytime soon. We'll look for the next thing that makes people afraid and judge it by its own standards. But I'm going to keep making it clear on the show it's not something to be afraid of unless it directly affects XRP, the XRP system, or the idea behind XRP, right? It's just a brief blip on the screen. And that's exactly what it was. Even though I've said that a lot in this video so far, it's still important to learn from things like this and see how people try to use the market's feelings to their own gain, and how you can look at it all from a very broad perspective and ask, is the market's emotional response accurate to what's really happening? And if it doesn't match up, you will have a chance to buy it. If you look at it and think, wow, this is really bad,